Well, good evening, and welcome, and thank you so much for joining me this evening. This evening, which is the 10th of the 4th, 2025. Saturday night, I was on my show Saturday night, and when I was on the show Saturday night, I just realized something when the show was completed. I realized that actually the music was playing in the background right through the program. Fortunately, it wasn't that loud. So the music was playing in the program Saturday night when I was doing civics, masterclass in civics, which was really a very interesting program. And you need to really check that out, that program which I did on Saturday night with Matunda McCullough on civics. The word aspect and the word meaning of civics is civicus. Very interesting discussion, a very interesting time. I think it is so important that we are in that element of teaching, that element of empowering. So I want to thank everybody for joining. Those who are joining me on Instagram, those who are joining me on YouTube, those who are joining me on Facebook. The Facebook, I must say, just need to let you know that if you're my friend before on my other Facebook page and you see me sending out a friend request, actually, my main Facebook page, they say, has been compromised. It has been compromised, or it's been hacked. That's what Facebook says. It's either compromised or it's been hacked, or someone was trying. So the good thing, what they have done, this is what they've done. They have shut it down. They have shut it down, and they said to protect the page and to protect it, which is really unfortunate, I must say, because I've done everything which they said I should do. I've actually put the codes in, put even a card detailed in, which is without the 3 digits number at the back, and nothing. So, but I got a backup page. I got a backup page which was advised by someone in Facebook, and I'm trying to see if I can find a link to that person who works in Facebook. And but anyway, so I think I lost that page because someone said be attuned to the fact that you may not get that Facebook page back. And I was saying to myself, if it was a few years ago, I would be going crazy, feeling that all my life is gone. But I don't know, somehow it doesn't, it's like no big deal, really. I mean, maybe because I got most of the pictures already saved. But I think when the whole thing regarding these social media platforms, TikTok, TalkTik, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you don't own any of them. You don't own any of them. And if you don't own any of them, you know what will happen? If you don't own any of them, then guess what? Then when they shut it down or anything goes wrong, then that's it. You can't do much about it because it wasn't yours in the first place. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, so that's the whole essence regarding my Facebook page. But hopefully I may get it back. Ladies and gentlemen, please like and share. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining tonight. And every Thursday night, which I come on the show, we tend to look at some of the major things which are happening around the world, and trying to get a feedback as to it, and to give my own perspective, and also a person's perspective as well. Because I always say that this is your show as well. What's the news? What's your news? This is the news in review. And how I coined this discussion tonight was Grooming Enquiry and Tariffs rollback. There's a few big news which has been happening in the UK. And thank you for the likes. There's a bit about the grooming gang, which I'm going to share something on shortly. And also regarding the rollback regarding the tariffs. Now, I got a lot of friends in the States, and people sharing their different views as to what is happening in regards to tariffs. Now, I don't know fully well what is happening in regards to tariff, but I know tariff is like a tool in the hand of the president, which he's using. And he's using in a way to come back and to try to make America great again or so. But one thing that I do pick up, though, one thing I do pick up in regards to the whole thing regarding this tariff issues and with what is happening in America. And this is what I said to someone. I said, Americans need to work together collectively. Americans need to work together collectively. The president of America has been was recently elected, and he was elected by the people of America. Therefore, he won. He won, and therefore, there's such a clear need for a working together, and it shows the power of the USA. It shows the power of the USA, and that I said to the person that you guys have something powerful in your hands. That person's in the United States of America. You have something powerful in your hands. You know, and how I see it is that Trump is acting out his promises and pledges as to what got him elected. And he seemed to be doing some troubleshooting at the same time. The Democrats missed the boat, as they could have done a lot in the 4 years. Look how much Trump has done in a couple of months. That means to say that the Democrats could have done a lot. But it is time for the USA to pull collectively together. No one ever agrees with the full measures by any prime minister or president or i.e. Policies. But there's a point that unity must show up. Good evening, Sir Garry Graham. How are you doing, sir?
Well, it's great to be with you, Sylbourne. And not as a week is a long time in politics, isn't it?
A week is a long time in politics. Actually, even a day these days, a long time. Even days is a long time in politics. I got to understand in regards to how things are being unfolded, in regards to America, you know, and everything. But I was just sharing a while ago, just starting about the whole thing regarding tariffs, because it's I just feel that the world has seen the power of America. If the world didn't know, there's a power in America, and Americans need to recognize that there's a power that they have if they recognized it. And what they really need to do at this moment in this time is to try to find some angle of unity. And if they find that, actually, that handle, that angle of unity, they could. There's a powerful thing there, Garry. You know,
Yes. Yeah.
there's something powerful there. You know, and I don't know.
So true.
I don't know.
True. So
You know, don't know what's your views in regards to that. Sorry, I just had to change something a while ago because everyone seems to be.
well, I mean,
Yeah. Sorry.
yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Go on. Sorry.
No, I mean, in regards to the United States, the whether I've been listening to a lot of commentaries over the past week or two.
Yes.
Varied, both from the United States, from Europe, those who are either coming from the Middle East or from the Asian continent and such, and it's all rather varied in their views. Obviously, the United States has power. Yes, obviously, the United States has a degree of power and influence. Whether it's feared or not is another thing, because when I've heard a lot speaking about the resistance of the Yemenis. They seem to really be putting up a stiff resistance. And yes, I think they're fighting for their lives
in Yemen.
in Yemen. Yes. is it the Gulf there, or what's the area
Yeah.
of the sea that they're fighting over? It's the I can't remember the sea, but obviously I think there's
Yeah.
two fleets there, two aircraft carrier and their support ships that are there, bombing Yemen. Now,
Is
I
that
mean,
regarding the Houthis? Is that regarding the Houthis? The Houthis? Is that
yeah,
right? Yeah.
that's where they are. That's where they
Mm.
are. Now, it could be argued that the that Yemen or the Houthis are, that they are really putting up a fight and they're defeating the U.S. and they're damaging the U.S. That is one argument, but I think at the
Yes.
same time, I think that Yemen may be doing it, or the Houthis are doing it because they have to. In a sense, when I say have to, I mean in order to survive, in order
Mm.
to 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 live, they are putting up a good fight, but they fear America. I mean, I don't think there's any country that does not fear America.
Yes.
You know, I've heard a lot of commentators say, well, the Houthis, they don't fear America. They're not afraid of America. And such, and America's might, and America is being challenged, and their their reputation is being damaged and such. Okay, that may be so, but at the same time,
Mm.
America is the strongest out of the two, in my estimation.
Yes.
That's in my estimation anyway. So Yemen is putting up a good fight, but they're fighting for survival. I mean, I think if America wanted to completely do a lot more damage than what
Mm.
they're doing, I don't think there's anything stopping America. But anyway, just in answer to your question, anyway, America is powerful. America is influential, and they do have clout. Irrespective of what anybody wants to say, they do have clout. So,
Mm.
I mean, also based on what Trump has done, you know, he's really causing havoc on the markets, on the financial markets. That again shows that America has clout, that America is strong. That
Yeah.
alone, look, if America was not
Well, yeah.
who America was, and they
Well,
made, then they wouldn't really make the effects of what they're doing, or how the countries around the world are responding at this time. If
yes.
we're okay, in
Well,
example,
it's very clear. Mm.
for
Yeah.
example, if let us say, I'm just picking out a country. If Indonesia did what America has done or did,
Yeah.
do you think that the financial markets would respond
Be-
how
Like
they
how it has?
responded? Yeah.
No.
So that goes to show that America has the clout that no other country in this world has. I mean, if the UK, which they say is the fifth largest economy in the world.
Well, actually, they're saying it's pushed back to the sixth now because a lot of millionaires are leaving the UK.
Okay, okay.
And they
So
say it's pushed to six.
okay, so even if the UK did what America has done, do you think that the world markets would respond the way how they have?
Uh, Not as much, if any.
Probably. And
Yeah.
I mean, the closest we can get to what happens, to what has happened with Trump, the closest that the UK probably could get to that was when Liz Truss did what she did.
Well, many are now saying that a lot of few punters are actually saying that if Liz Truss was policies were able to roll through, things would have been different, I give it time for Liz Truss, you know. but the tariff thing is very interesting because even with the rollback now, pause, which is for various strategic, economic, political reasons, um, it has heightened tariff appears to be driven by several key factors. And I mean, many people, I mean, like Don Lemon is actually saying Trump has blinked, but I realize that every time that Trump is doing something, it's like he's trying to pull people in to have a conversation, to get them to the table. That's what he seemed to be doing, The stock market volatility, the suspension of tariffs, which followed this week of the significant stock market, raised concerns about a potential global economic downturn. I've heard people like talking about in Jamaica say, watch what's going to happen. There's going to be this massive downturn. While some are actually saying there's going to be a little hill and gully ride, but then it's going to come true. Trump decision to pause the tariffs, which had led to the sharp rebound in U.S. stock indexes, suggesting that the market turbulence influences move. But the other thing now is that I think is Schiff, one of the senators or the congressman in the States, is saying they're going to maybe have some sort of investigation to see if there was some insider dealing, because on one of Trump's tweet, he said, buy, buy, buy. Now's the time to buy. When stocks go down, buy, buy, buy. So there are a lot of questions which are being asked about how this is happening. And I was watching the Senate earlier, and they're saying that the people are feeling it hard at this time. But I don't know how can people feel it hard as yet, Gary. I don't know how. How has it really filtered down to people so quickly?
No, I
Yeah.
mean, it's
That's
it's. I mean, it's going to be
mm,
hard. It's going to be hard, and I think that the full effect of what's happening now will be felt later. I don't think it will come down so quickly. I mean, it's like, how can I?
yeah.
Well, I think it will be felt later. It will be felt later.
Interest rates, when interest rates go up.
I
I'm
think
sorry.
I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure.
Mm,
Can you hear me, Phil?
yes. I can hear you. I can hear you clearly. I can hear you very clear. You know,
Yeah,
I can hear
don't
you very clearly.
I don't know how the interest rates will react, because I was listening to BBC this morning. Was it this morning? I think it was this
Yeah.
morning. I was listening, and there was a financial commentator, a financial analyst, that was talking about the strange reactions that's happening on the stock exchange between bonds and stocks, and they're not whatever is happening on the stock markets amongst the
Mm,
financial areas, it hasn't really been seen to take place ever, because certain areas of the stock market, from what I have gathered, shouldn't have responded the way how it has, or they did, because
mm,
they're not. It hasn't happened before. Whatever has been happening with Trump has never ever happened. And even though the stocks went down, as we all know, there was massive losses on the stock markets, massive. Even though there's been
yes.
some rallying of the markets, there's other sectors of the market, such as bonds and treasury yields and such, which have responded in ways that they've never seen before. So
Yes.
something is happening.
Mm,
How the government, or how the federal bank, or the Bank of England, or the markets, or the governments around the world responds to that in regards to interest rates, I don't know. I can't say anything about that.
yeah. But with the impact of China and ladies and gentlemen, with the impact of China and the retaliation, um, the the broader suspension tariffs on China this were increased significantly to 125%, reflecting ongoing tensions between the two nations.
I mean,
Some say you're rude.
it's just getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
Sylbourne. You just don't know where it's going to end. I mean, I think that Trump expected China
to back down.
Yes. Or to go completely the opposite. Not so much to hike up theirs, but to respond differently. He didn't expect them to retaliate, put it that way. I think that he expected them to respond differently in the first instance. Yeah. And every time he puts up, yes. Every time he increases, then they increase.
Yes. I think what it is saying, it is suggesting that while the roadblock may aim to ease pressure on most trade partners, it also serves as a strategic maneuver in the U.S.-China trade conflict. And I believe what they're actually talking about is this sort of way how China been going about doing things. But as I said, when these things happen, I just believe that there's such an opportunity. Such opportunities go when something closes, then opportunities are there because, like, even the CARICOM, for argument's sake, you know, the Caribbean should be positioning or repositioning themselves to go to deal with some of all these different work that China has been doing. You know that a lot of mobile phones are made in China and India. Lots of mobile. 80% of Apple phones are made in China.
But still, I mean, you mentioned phones, which is right, and technology, but everything almost. I thought it was probably, let's say, to be conservative, let's say 60% of the goods in our world is made in China. Now, I don't know. I'm just pulling that out of the air because every time you buy something or anything you buy, if you look at where it's made, you say made in China.
Made in China. We always say made in China. Everything is made in China.
Everything that is bought that you can't find, even the very smallest of screws to the very large thing of a phone, let us say, is made in China. There isn't anything, I don't think, that doesn't come out of China.
I was looking at my stapler a while ago to see if it is made in China as well. Hey, this is it. My backup drive. I look a backup drive, which I do, where I transfer pictures from my phone onto my laptop. There it is, made in China. Got it from Amazon. There it is, made in China.
So you know what?
Hold on. My microphones. Which I use sometimes when I'm walking, made in China.
Yeah. I think so. What's going to happen is China. If the increase continues to happen from the United States,
yes,
what is going to happen? What really is going to happen? What it does Trump expect? I wish you could get someone who can understand the financial markets and the responses to this to some extent, because it's going to be interesting to see how high Trump goes before he stops or he goes back, or China goes down, because something has to give.
Something has to give.
China can't. No. Trump cannot continue to go up, and China cannot continue to go up, and China has to stop at one point. Trump has to stop. But at what point will he stop?
Yes. I don't know if a lot of this is brinkmanship or a lot of it is also ego.
You see, again, the thing about it is is this planned? That's another question that people may be asking.
Yes.
Is it a plan that is being acted out between Trump or between the world leaders, between Trump and Xi Jinping?
Yeah.
Is it a plan?
Well,
Is it something
well, what they say is that they both have a good. I don't know if it's a good relationship, but people are saying that they had a good relationship in the last tenure of when Trump was president. Trump has relationship with Putin. Trump has relationship with Ying Pong Kyung Chong, my North Korean geezer there. You know, and keeps saying, "Oh, we're a great fella, great guy," you know. So I guess we'll have to watch. But as I keep saying, I think what Americans need to do instead of getting their knickers into a twist as much as possible is to try to find some common ground. Because at the end of the day, someone said Trump is going to be impeached. I said, please give me a break. You want civil war? You know, right now, Trump got elected based on what he said he's gonna do. He's one of the few leaders in the world that is doing what he said he's gonna do from his manifesto, you know. Unlike persons like Starmer, unlike other persons in the world. But nevertheless, still, that is a bit there on the tariffs, and we watch to see how it unfold. I think Warren Buffett actually was saying it's a good thing which is happening. I believe in a way that there could be this settling, this repositioning, recalculation, recalibration, you know, so that you recalibrate your car. Maybe that is what is happening as well to create that America, which many people know is great, know is powerful, and we are seeing without a doubt that America is great and America is powerful. And some people are saying if people have issues with America, then they can go to China to live, they can go to Cuba to live. As well. But I want to ask you a quick question, Garry. What is the latest on the rubbish rectified?
the rubbish in Birmingham?
Yeah.
Hello.
The union bosses held up Birmingham bin deal. Garry, are you there?
Yeah, I mean,
Hello?
okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay,
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah. Let's start from the bottom. Let's start from the bottom as far as we know. Yeah.
Yes.
Birmingham City Council is bankrupt. Isn't it bankrupt?
Okay.
Sylbourne. Yeah. Birmingham City Council is bankrupt.
Yes.
They're trying to get out of the mess. And it's spilling out onto the streets. They don't have the money. That's why they're holding out.
Well, it's definitely spilling out on the streets.
You know, so I don't know how they're going to resolve this. I don't know how they're going to resolve it because they declared bankruptcy about a year, 2 years ago, isn't it?
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah. I don't know how long now. So refuge is a priority, but they don't have the money. Where are they going to get the money from? Now, obviously, they don't want to put up council tax because that's where the money is going to have to come from. But if they do that, I have a funny feeling that that Birmingham may just revolt because things are just going through the roof. Everybody in every council in this country is having a difficult time. And there are some councils, yes, there may be some councils that are rich. There are some councils that are completely broke. One of them being Birmingham, and they just can't balance the books.
Yes.
unless central government comes in to kind of help them out and bail. There's no way. I can't see Birmingham City Council really making any kind of deal, because I tell you this, Sil, and I don't know how the rest of your listeners may respond to this, but anyhow, if Birmingham um, okays them to give them any kind of increase in wages, other departments are going to come out. Other departments are going to
Yeah.
come out, and that always happens. That always happens. So it depends on how much Birmingham Council is going to accept or say they'll give, and what the unions will accept. But anyhow the unions win
Well,
on
yeah.
this, then there's going to be a fight in other areas as far as Birmingham is concerned.
What I said is a deal between striking bin workers and Birmingham City Council could have been reached were it not for the intervention of the Unite Union's national leadership team. BBC was told, right? Unite said claimed national union figures had scuppered a potential deal were entirely without merit. Thousands of tons of rubbish have built up on the city streets over more than 4 weeks. And Ms. Reiner said the situation was causing misery and disruption to residents right on the eve of an election. Number of senior Labour figures outside the council, including some MPs, say they understand the purported deal with local reps would have been reached during the rolling strike in January. So it has become very political then.
Yeah, it has become political.
Yeah.
It has become political.
Mm.
It has become political, and I think I don't see I don't think there's a way out. If there's a deal, it may not happen overnight, but I think that there's going to be serious repercussions across the departments in Birmingham Council. I don't think it's going to go down very well in other areas. And especially,
the opposition,
amongst the citizens that live within the Birmingham City Council area, the brunt of the cost is going to increase, and there could be demonstrations.
Well, the opposition leader is saying if you vote Labour, what are you going to get is rubbish on the streets.
But seriously talking, I mean, seriously speaking, Sil, okay, I'm not saying that we said that this would happen, but what we did say before the election is that with a Labour government, you're going to have an increase of taxes, because even though with all of the bluster that they said they would not increase this, they would not increase that, they wouldn't increase the council tax. There's something else that they said they wouldn't have done. They've completely done U-turns all the way through, using the excuse that they have a $22 billion hole to fill. That's their excuse.
Yes. It is very sad. It is very sad because, you know, everyone knows what it is like to get the rubbish out. I mean, you know, especially in the holiday period whereby a bank holiday may come and then you miss the rubbish or the rubbish guys don't come. Because people plan for that. And with the whole rats and all these different things. So I'm sure that people in Birmingham are not happy about this. I don't know if it's going to have a major impact upon the upcoming election, which is happening there. So let's hope that happens. But I want to go on to quickly something in regards to this grooming thing. For wrap up, this grooming thing, which has been happening, and Labour is, I don't know if they're caught with their pants down or whatever like that, but you know, the ongoing debate surrounding the grooming gang inquiries has highlighted several key issues. And what they're saying is that critics, including survivors and some politicians, have accused the government of scaling back its commitment to local inquiries. Home Secretary Hubert Cooper announced 5 victim-centered, locally led investigations early this year. Only one, Oldham, has been confirmed so far. The remaining 4 have shifted to a flexible approach, allowing council to choose between full inquiries, victim panel, or audits. Change had led to accusation of watering down the response, with some arguing that it undermined justice for survivors. And now the background of this is that a lot of young girls were being groomed and molested over a period of time by alleged particular group as well. And one of the reasons why they're saying Labour is not wanting to actually address it and deal with it in a way is because of political sensitivities. Now, I'm going to play something here by Trevor Phillips and what Trevor Phillips said in regards to this. Let's play Trevor Phillips.
And radio presenter. But I think what the government is doing on that question is utterly, utterly shameful.
Really?
Utterly shameful. And it is so obviously political that if people who in government who are responsible for this, who are in other ways, I think completely decent people, should really be ashamed of themselves. And because it's so obvious that they're not doing this because of the demographic of the people involved, as Katie Lamb, the Tory MP, said yesterday, largely Pakistani Muslim in background, and also in Labour-held seats and councils who would be offended by it. And that's clearly the reason that they're not pursuing this. And it is utterly shameful, given what has been done to these children by these men. I cannot tell you how cross I am about it. But it relates to the question you asked me, because I think part of the problem is that the centre-left has put all sorts of barriers around what it can talk about, what it may speak out about. And in the same way as we have this problem here, in the United States, the Democrats have had almost nothing to say about, for example, immigration, had nothing very much to say about some of the barriers on freedom of speech on campuses and so on, because they're embarrassed by it. And it has presented an absolute open goal to people like Trump and Vance. That's the problem. I know it's not my business.
Yeah, so that's Trevor Phillips talking about the whole thing regarding the grooming gang or so. And let's hear Kemi Badenoch.
Inquiries into grooming gangs that they promised in January.
I am absolutely astonished that Labour has dropped what it said it would do in January. And as I said to Keir Starmer at Prime Minister's questions, that if he did not have a full national inquiry, people will start to think that there is a cover-up. They are clearly uncomfortable with having inquiries that are looking into this issue. They've said that they'll have a pot of money for councils to bid in, but why would a council bid for money to investigate itself? We need something that is national. We need a statutory inquiry so we can compel witnesses. And I'm going to make sure that we force another vote. I think it was a disgrace that Labour MPs voted against it. They will pretend it was about the schools bill. They could have voted for it and saved that bill. And we're going to keep doing it again and again until they see sense.
Yeah, so that's the leader of the opposition, Kemi Badenoch, giving her reaction to the whole thing there. And one of the things that I was looking at is the political sensitivities, because they say the demographic composition of offenders has sparked controversy, as Sir Trevor Phillips has alleged, that the government hesitated to advance inquiries in Labour-dominated areas with significant Pakistani Muslim population due to fears of political backlash. Even Cooper, Home Secretary, has denied these claims, calling them political motivated misinformation. However, this issue reflects broad attention about how race and ethnicity are addressed in discussion of grooming gangs. Yeah. As I think what JD Vance was talking about when he came. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but that is so true. You look at the history of, I can name one area that grooming gangs have been in the news more often than not over the many years.
Yeah.
And it's a Labour seat. You hard. I'm not saying it doesn't happen in the Conservative, because it doesn't really matter. I mean, these things happen, but
Yes.
but these things. I mean, these things happen in a Labour constituency, and Labour refuses. I mean that speaks volumes there, mate. I mean, it really isn't right. It can't be right. Why doesn't Labour do something about it? Why?
They don't
Is
want
it
to
about,
vote.
is it about votes?
It's politics, Garry. It is alleged politics. Alleged politics. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's the whole thing.
Yeah,
alleged politics.
It's not good. It's not good. It's not good. It's not good.
But, because some experts argue that the other round of inquiries be redundant and costly, and suggest focusing on implementing recommendations from past investigations, such as the independent inquiry into child sexual abuse. Critics point out that previous inquiries have already identified systematic failings, including institutional reluctance to act due to fears of being labeled racist. Right? So he's being politically correct, trying to be politically correct at the same time. And and that's the reason why Trump has got this sort of following to a certain extent. Love him or loathe him, because he says that it is leaders these days are playing around issues. Everybody want to maybe what should I say? Don't want to upset. They want to upset some persons, so they sort of just keep it down, tone it down as well as much as possible, which is really unfortunate. And it is hoped that over the months or so with these inquiries, that something may happen. You know that there's a talk about the cabinet office to shed 2,100 civil servant roles. Government department run by one of the is cutting almost a third of its jobs as minister seeks to accelerate civil service reform. Yeah.
I mean, what does one have to do to stop all of this? Well, again, well, I don't know. I don't know. Because what Trump is doing, it probably is giving way for the government to do what they need to do. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. In America then.
Yeah. I think Trump is allowing them to do what they need to do.
Yes. This is the leader of China, and the leader of China is actually reading a book.
Oh dear, Trump.
The Art of the Deal. He's reading The Art of the Deal. That's what he's reading. The Art of the Deal. Well, the minister of Constitutional Affairs will be in the UK next week. Malahoo Fort, to share the progress regarding the constitutional reform. So you need to come down and celebrate the removing the king as the head of state. That's what she's here to say, that there's great progress now which is happening regarding removing the king as head of state in the UK.
Well, need to do something.
Eh?
They need to do something.
He said, There's a special town hall meeting with the Honorable Marlene Malahoo Fort, Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs. Event provides an opportunity to hear directly from Minister Malahoo Fort as she gives an update on Jamaica constitutional reform and transition to republic status. Tuesday, the 15th of April, 6 p.m. I'm going to try to attend there. One of the things that it's so important to go to these places sometime, because if you don't go, sometimes they will say they went and it wasn't well attended, or people in the UK are behind the whole thing 100%. I just believe that removing the king as a head of state, while it's good in principle, but it is removing to what? Yeah, that's the key thing. All right, removing to what? And if you're going to affect the Constitution in light of that, then why not bring into the Constitution the discussions in regards to impeachment, the discussions in regarding to recall, and having a fixed date for election?
Right.
Because right now in Jamaica, somebody right now could be planning and wanting to take a trip to do some business, but because they are politically minded and they want to be there to vote, they don't want to leave, because an election may be called at any time.
Right.
So that what they don't want to do is to leave the country tomorrow or next week, and then an election is called to be in 6 weeks, 7 weeks time. That makes their plan a bummer.
Yeah.
And that is the reason why I support overseas voting for persons like that. I support overseas voting for persons like that. The whole aspect of voting for you and me was not being in the country or blah blah blah. I don't really support that much, that I need to vote in Jamaica election. But I believe that someone who is in Jamaica, who is registered and is a citizen, well, we are citizens still, dual citizen, but someone is there living in Jamaica 24/7. If they travel and leave the country for a month or two on business, they shouldn't have to be forced to go back if an election is called. They should be able to vote at a Jamaica High Commission or embassy overseas.
Right.
But if there was a date which was fixed for election, if a date was there fixed for election, then they could plan properly. And instead of waiting for the prime minister to call it, depending on how you wake up feeling this morning, on, or finding a sort of advantageous time when they can call election. So these are things that need to be addressed. And also the big elephant in the room is the whole aspect with the Privy Council. If you're going to remove the king as the head of state, then why have the King's Court where you're going to send your people to go to their final court of appeal and they have to get a visa? Why not just have it in the Caribbean Court of Justice? And lo and behold, the Caribbean Court of Justice is not just about you going to Barbados or going overseas. They can come and they can sit in Jamaica as well. So all of these factors that need to be taking place and need to be considered. And the type of president you're going to have. If you're going to remove the king as the head of state, and therefore you're not going to be a governor general, you're going to have a president. What type of president is it going to be? I know we talk about this a lot. Is it going to be an executive president or a ceremonial president? Executive president is one which is voted in by the people. But there are dissensions in the camp now, because they're saying that the prime minister, based on the mandate that he has, he will have the overriding vote as to who he wants to be president. Even though really and truly, it should be a joint effort between the opposition and the prime minister. But if the opposition, the opposition wanted a casting vote, so all of those things need to be taken into play. And so I think maybe I might go there and express those sort of reservations and those views as much as possible. Yeah. And Saturday night, of course, I did the civics discussion, and that was really good with Matunda McCullough. That was a good one. And I believe it is really good because it takes you through the stage as well. I think the next one is, I think I do it every 2 weeks. I think it's every 2 weeks I do it, but I'll see what happened this Saturday as well. Yeah. All right. So listen, it's a great week. And then last word, Garry, we'll wrap up.
Well, not really. We just have to watch and see what happens in the White House there.
Yes.
What this comes out. I mean, to me, I don't think Starmer really is. I don't know if he's really being taken seriously on the world stage.
I don't think so, and I think he's trying to be relevant in many different ways by jumping all over the place, doing all the different things, And sometimes I just say, why not just manage things and just let things flow, and make life easy for people instead of making it difficult for people? Because you cannot say there's no money when you're giving money to Ukraine. You cannot say that. And someone was pointing out the other day that the amount of money which is in the system is the way that 22 billion is like a piece of cake to a certain extent, small piece of cake, and also Zelensky now is also seems somewhat a bit obsolete and irrelevant because the limelight has been taken away from him. Trump is there. Trump is the one. So he's trying to exert himself by saying that there were 5 Chinese nationals fighting. And then somebody pointed out and said, but in the Ukraine army, there are so many mercenaries. So many people who have sympathizers. So maybe those 5 persons are sympathizers for China, for Russia as well. So anyway, Garry, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for joining. Those on Facebook and those on YouTube and those on Instagram and TikTok as well. Thank you so much for coming, and see you Saturday night. Remember to like and subscribe and share the show. Peace out. Bye-bye.